Welcome to the Intuitive Therapist Podcast with Janis R. Cohen, therapist, clairvoyant, empath, and medium. Listen in as she takes a no-nonsense deep dive into real human struggles and how to resolve them. Janis will share channeled information from her spirit guide team, as well as the angels and archangels, to help you master your emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual destiny. And now, Janis R. Cohen.
Hey y'all, this is Janis Cohen, the Intuitive Therapist here on the Intuitive Therapist Podcast. You know, life happens quickly, and you need to learn how to respond to it with clarity and strength, right? But how many of us actually feel like we have those two resources in our back pocket every single time we face a difficult situation? Sure, you can try to have these, but in some instances, or maybe many instances, clarity and strength aren't easy to find. But there's something you can use every time you face a challenge in your life that you could tap into any time you need it. And it's the strongest resource you could ever have when life throws you a curveball. And I'll get to that one thing in a moment, but I want to ask you a question first. If you're able to take an honest look at how you deal with difficulty, what 2 to 3 strategies do you use to overcome them? Have you ever thought about that? Like what's really in your toolbox that's effective? I don't know about you, but for me and for decades of my life, I was extremely reactionary. I had no filter. And to some extent, I kind of still have a bit of that reactionary response. I've learned to control it and manage it, but I grew up really, honestly, having no filter. And I got into a lot of trouble as a kid and a young adult because my words just flew out of my mouth before I had time to think. And it wasn't a very helpful strategy, in all honesty, to use when I was struggling. And it was like I was like this feral cat trying to claw my way out of being backed into a corner, but really kind of all the damn time. And I didn't know how to effectively cope with the challenges, and I didn't even know there was a better way until I taught myself through a lot of trial and error, better ways to face what scared me. And that's what challenges in life really are. They cause fear in us. And when most of us are in a fear state, we tend to react rather than respond. Most of us do. Is this making sense now? So this was my life. React, react, react. And I didn't even know the impact of that impulsive behavior was having on my life. And later on, though, I was able to see how destructive it was for me and the kind of wake I left from all of my reactivity. And I wasn't taught how to overcome my way of being and overcome challenges using reliable strategies. At least the ones that worked. I know that most people really didn't understand me. Hell, I didn't even understand myself. But in all honesty, I sure as shit experienced the consequences of my actions over time. My big mouth landed me in detention more times than I can really tell you about. I was written up a lot in school for talking back to teachers. And at home, I experienced the natural consequences that most children would face when they act with opposition and defiance. That was me. So, trust me, my eye rolls and sounds of exasperations landed me on the very end of my plank at home more times than I can count. Thank goodness my parents had more patience for me than I did for anything else. So, my question to you is, how did you deal with difficulty as you grew up? I asked you first, what are your strategies now? But when you look back, how did you deal with difficulties when you grew up? What did you learn? Did you go within? Did you personalize things? Did you build layers of anger and then become rageful? Did you learn to be helpless? Did you learn to hide and deny your feelings? Did you choose to stuff them down, and as a result of not choosing to or not learning how to deal with them, that you turned to food, sex, alcohol, pot, drugs, addiction, or develop an eating disorder to cope with your life of feeling out of control? Did you stop trusting people and never realizing that it's you who needs to be trusted, not anyone else? Look, we all know that there's no handbook for life. Authors tout so many helpful suggestions about how to deal with this thing, how to deal with that thing, things that worked for them, and some of those things might work for you. But until and unless you're ready to learn how to rise up to your challenges and face them with sturdiness, you're just going to continue to flail about, just as I did. Maybe worse, maybe not as severe, and you'll begin to believe that there must be something wrong with you if all these shitty things keep happening to you over time and you're not able to find a way to stop them, or at least intersect with them so you could stop their full potential of impact. Remember that I mentioned that there was something that I wanted you to try to do if you encounter difficulties? That was at the top of the session this morning. Well, it's actually one thing, but it's twofold. And so here it is. So when life knocks you down, here's what I want you to do. I want you to try to land on your back, because if you do, you can look up and then you can get up. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? I'm going to say it again. When life knocks you down, I want you to try to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. This one thing called having faith in source, faith in the universe, whatever you call this greater thing than you, having faith in that can get you through anything that you face in your life. This one thing, having faith in something greater, allows you to, especially when your faith is real and true and solid and unwavering, you know that there's a greater purpose for your pain. You have a deeper understanding of the reasons why things happen. You don't just feel them or experience them or feel like life is happening to you. You're like, you know what? My default initial reaction is to say, okay, what's the purpose in this? Right? There's a greater purpose for your struggles, a greater purpose for your tests, and the repeat experiences that you have. So when you have faith, and I don't care what you call your source of faith, it doesn't matter to me as long as it aligns with you, right? But if you have faith in something greater than you, something that you truly believe is always your rock, something that you can rely on to cradle you when nothing and no one else will or can, when you truly believe and trust that you are never alone, and that even through when life sucks, all those times that life sucks, and you have no clue about what's going to happen or even why something's happening, but you have this one thing, faith, then you can handle and move through anything. So, you remember I said this thing is twofold. Okay. First is having faith in something greater than you. And the second is cultivating faith in yourself. You see, the universe partners with us to give us what we need, not always what we want. We've all heard this, but it's true. Who am I kidding? We rarely get what we want unless it's meant for us to have. That's the only way. But cultivating faith in yourself, to me, is an even stronger component of dealing with getting beaten up with life. If you don't have faith in yourself to deal with and handle the challenges that come your way, you're screwed. You can't have real faith in the universe, in source, if you don't have some faith in yourself to receive from source. So, nothing and no one can build that up inside of you. And that comes from the school of hard knocks. When you build up layers and layers and layers of faith in yourself, you are no match for being debilitated by life. And when you build up faith in yourself, your faith in a power greater than you grows too. It's like they're mutually exclusive. So I'm thinking about this as I'm talking to you today, and my mind keeps wandering to gospel music. Just got chills, so I meant to talk to you about this today. I'm a music lover. I listen to all kinds of genres. Whatever my mood calls for, that's the music I listen to. And I listen to gospel music a lot. It feeds my soul. And I don't care where I find my inspiration. I don't entirely listen to all the words. I feel the feeling, but I do listen to the words a lot. So when the feeling strikes me, I listen to some of my favorite songs, my favorite gospel songs, and just taking the beauty of the energy of it and the words. Look, we all need to be inspired to believe in something greater than us, and we all need to have moments where we can be touched by the hand of Source. And for me, I experience that a lot when I listen to music. The songs that I listen to speak about trusting God, and that's the way I refer to Source. Knowing that God has your back. That when all else fails and you find yourself bludgeoned at the knees by life, you give your situation up to God to handle. We call that surrender. And surrender, and I've talked about this before, probably many episodes back, surrendering is not an intellectual pursuit. Surrendering happens in a moment that your soul allows you to let go of the things that your mind is holding on to. It says, you know what? We can't solve this intellectually. We can't do anything about this. It's not our job right now to do anything. We've got to hand it over and then be shown the way. You have to have faith in yourself to do that. You have to have faith in something greater in order to have faith in yourself. And for anybody out there who's facing difficulty, hardship, loneliness, or you feel like that's kind of your life. You're always stepping from one pile of shit to the next, and everything's difficult and nothing ever works out, and you tend to see those colors. There's one thing I know for sure, that when you choose to see a situation as having options, then you are far better off than if you convince yourself that you can't resolve something. And if you decide, and I'm telling you, there are people I know in my life, I don't keep them very close to me, but I know them because I have a history with them. And they're constantly noticing and sharing how things are negative and don't work out. Always ready for the day to be over. Always ready for the week to be over. Always ready for the bad shit to stop happening. And I talk about focus and choice all the time. When you only see the colors of difficulty, it makes it very, very hard to see the colors of success or ease. So when you get knocked down by life, you don't even need to land on your back. I just want you to do two things. I want you to breathe and look within. And I also want you to look up. These are your best weapons to counter any attack. These are your best resources to use when you deal with life. Sometimes you just have to step back so that you can step forward. Have faith in yourself. And if you don't, work on that shit. I'm telling you, right? That no matter what, you will figure out how to rise above the challenges. And that you'll call on the universal support that's here for all of us to help you navigate those bulldozing times. If there's any wish I have for you today, is that you cultivate faith. Life doesn't happen to you to make you doubt God or yourself. That's not the purpose of all this shit. Sure, we all have karmic debt to settle, and sometimes it's bad. But we're not meant to just experience doubt and sadness and disappointment or suffer. Our job is to be able to transmute our experiences into learning. So I had to teach myself how to stop being reactive. I had to pause. I had to drink in the lesson and take a moment to figure out what part I play in what I called into my life. When you ask quality questions, those kinds of questions that open the pathway to get quality answers, answers that allow you to move forward, That is amazing. And then you wait and receive guidance. Ah, that's the best. And I promise you that if you get knocked down, beaten up, or driven over by life, which a lot of us do, that's how we experience. Everything is just a fucking difficulty. We feel like life just drives over us over and over and over again, and we're stuck. We can't get out from being a slave to work, or a slave to a shitty relationship, or a slave to addiction, or a slave to anything. If you get knocked down, beaten up, and driven over by life, and you have faith in yourself, even a smidgen, you'll find a way to get up faster and more efficiently each time you build up that muscle. And one of the best ways I know how to do this is to cultivate fulfillment in my life, and to be able to honestly look at my life where I've had success in overcoming. And when I have good things going on in my life, it's easier to rebound. And good things are relative, right? So while you may want some really big good things, and maybe those things aren't happening right now, but there's always something you can appreciate. That if you're alive today, that God gave you another chance, and that you have the opportunity to look at whatever passes your view today and decide consciously what you choose to know and believe about that and about yourself. When I have good things going on in my life, it's easier to rebound. When I'm aligned with what I want, I can bounce back better. When I have faith in myself, I can trust myself to deal with anything. And if it's too overwhelming, I can trust myself that God's got my back. And when I'm filling in the gaps of wanting more out of life, because I know I'm meant for more, I'm destined for more, then I can fucking deal with anything. When I know I can tap into that potential, I may not know what it looks like. And you know what? I don't have to know what that looks like. I just feel the feeling in my body that there's better out there for me, even better out there for me. And it may take me a minute or two to shake myself back into consciousness when I'm knocked down, but I'll do that. I fight. I don't fight against life, but I fight for myself. And I'm asking you to do that. Fight for yourself. I want you to have that kind of resilience too. And that is one of the reasons why my free 3-part live miniseries called Destined for More can help you do that. It's going to help you understand how to more intentionally live your life so that you can start building a sense of ownness, a sense of control, a sense of resilience and clarity in your life, so that you can get back up faster and make your life a life that actually excites you instead of one that you complain about or one that you wish you didn't have. So those of you who've already registered, I am so grateful. I'm so excited, and I thank you, and I cannot wait to see you. Those of you who are on the fence, don't be on the fence, because really, there really is no fence in life. You either do or don't do something, even if you say you're undecided. You've decided to be undecided. But if you're on the fence, it's a free thing. Come on, y'all. This shit's free. 3 days of free content for a few hours a day that gives you great info to help you shift your life. It's free, y'all. How could you not want to attend free? So what are you waiting for, ladies? Here you go. https://janisrcohen.com/destined. And I promise you that you'll get at least one golden nugget that will shift your life in a better direction. I believe in giving a shit ton of value. That's how I live my life. That's why I'm doing this for free. https://janisrcohen.com/destined. The mini course begins on December 1st. And I'll tell you what, seats are limited. So I would suggest you grab your spot now because it's really, really going to be cool. And you're going to be a part of something pretty freaking special. I hope today has been helpful. Whatever you find your faith in, please just make sure that you cultivate it in yourself too. There's more help from the universe out there than you could even possibly imagine. And sometimes doing isn't really the best doing. Sometimes the best doing is being. And when we feel like we can't handle shit in our life, you know what? We're not meant to handle everything. That's the funky thing about life. We are not meant to handle everything. We either meant to reach out to other humans to help us, or we are to stand and receive from the universe our next steps. I hope this was helpful today. And for any of you that are struggling, I'm with you. I get it. And I ask that you focus on what's possible. Even if you look all around your life and feel like, hey, I can't be thankful for anything. Find something. Focus on that. Remember, I choose to know and believe that. And just keep finishing that sentence rapid fire. I choose to know and believe that today's going to be a better day. I choose to know and believe that I can rise up from my challenges. I choose to know and believe that I am resilient. I choose to know and believe that my dreams are here because they matter to me. Who I am and how I am changes lives. I choose to know and believe that when I share from my heart, good comes back to me. I wish you a blessed day, a wonderful week, and as always, live intuitively.
Thanks for listening to The Intuitive Therapist. If you like what you heard, the best compliment you can give us is to share this podcast with a friend. And be sure to give us some stars and a favorable review at Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in.